Tonight, we are going up against Satan's gate. I'm a little concerned, man, about your salvation and stuff. How come you have not been baptized?
Because I never got around to it, okay? I don't know why you always have to be judging me. Because I only believe in science.
Welcome to Hispanerds. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hispanerds. This is Alex.
This is Kenji.
Hey, we're both wearing our new stuff.
Oh, yeah. I had to go all gray with my
All gray.
Disney gear.
You actually look pretty comfy right now.
Hell yeah, I had to.
You act like
I just realized, like, you're not even wearing your costume. Did you change over there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I changed.
Have you been changing all this time?
Yeah. But you never
realized.
noticed me anymore. Yeah, and it's funny because I hop into my van to the back, and I change, and then I pop out of the back, like, you know, and I'm all changed.
Oh, you changing the van?
But because I don't want to, like, I leave my clothes in the van, and then it's just faster and easier to go from there. But there hasn't been one Tuesday where people aren't walking by. So, like, when I bust out of the side, like, people like look at me like, what's going on? Or when I'm walking in with my full clothes, but I'm walking to the back and there's no driver, no passenger. They're like, what's going on?
You gotta do it next time, like, with a costume.
I look like a weirdo. But no, yeah, it just, I feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, so. But anyway, how was? Let's start with New Year. How was your New Year's?
New Year's was cool, man. Like I said, I went to Sevillas in Costa Mesa, and it's nicely designed over there, man.
Yeah.
Like I really like it. Like they have this beautiful red lighting, and you've seen saffron, right? Like you've had saffron, like the
You asked me that, and no, I have not.
It's like like a seasoning spice that they use, and it's one of the most expensive spices in the world.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's really expensive. So one of the walls is full of just the jar that they order it from. And
one of the walls is made of saffron.
It's an expensive one. Yeah, but yeah, really, really cool spot. I wouldn't mind going there again. It's not too far from here either, but
the only Sevilla I've ever been to is one here in Long Beach.
And right here, yeah. I've been to this one. This one's very tight. Like the club is big, but where you eat, it's very tight fit, especially when they have the live band and people want to dance in front of the live band.
Well, you know what? I have I have a different memory of it, because I think what you're talking about, the where people dance, that part, that's where they had food.
Did you go for like some sort of special event buffet thing?
Yeah. So me and my wife back in the day when we used to have the screen printing and embroidery.
Yeah.
There was. I don't remember what company hosted the event, but basically we would go to the Long Beach Convention Center.
Yeah.
And we would go for the trade show. I think it was called ISS, I think it was the name of it.
Yes.
And
I don't know.
So we would go over there and they would show us new screen printing techniques, new inks, new machinery.
Right.
And then after that, there would be, I believe it was one company that would do different events at different locations. So one year they took over the Queen Mary.
Yeah.
And they hosted a dance party there and food. And then another year they hosted at Sevilla. But the way that they had it set up is like they had these tables, and each table had different foods on it, and people could dance, and they had a live. That is the first and only time that I've ever seen a live Spanish
flamenco
style musicians.
Oh, you've never? That was your first time?
That was my first time.
Are they? Come on.
It was amazing,
right?
It was amazing. Yeah, they're good. Well, and the guys were like, what are those guys called? The famous ones,
Gypsy Kings.
The Gypsy Kings.
Yeah.
So you know how they do that style of singing, whatever. So like they had a man and a woman singing duo.
Yeah.
And they were, man, incredible. And they had dancers, so they're like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
And they were dancing.
Oh yeah, the flamenco.
Yeah, it was like incredible.
The one I used to go to was in Riverside, and I had buddies there, so we actually did some performances there as well, and we would do the whole.
That's right, Riverside. So Riverside has one too.
We used to. The one that was in Riverside moved to Costa Mesa. What happened? There was a shootout a few years ago, and that just ruined everything. And they closed.
Flamenco dancers.
And they closed down.
Now, was the one that used to be in Riverside? Was that over by Mission Inn? Was it in that area?
Yes. So you know where the freeway is, the 215?
Okay, then I do remember that one because I used to live in Hemet.
Yeah.
And when we would go down to Riverside, I remember that was the first time I'd ever seen. But we never walked in.
Yeah, that's the one right there by the spaghetti factory.
Yes. Yeah. So that one had a shootout.
Yeah, in the parking lot.
And so from there, they moved it over here?
It took a while before they moved over there. But,
wow.
But yeah, they were closed for a long time. They just didn't want to open anymore. It was just getting too dangerous.
That's crazy. And it's like, it's all Spanish style, like,
yeah,
cool,
but the thing
music.
is, there's like a club and that's that was attracting a lot of youngsters, and
I guess I should confess right now, it was me.
It was
I'm the one who shot up. No, I'm just kidding.
You heard it here. Not just.
So yeah, you went to the one in Costa Mesa.
Costa Mesa, yeah,
and you had a good time.
Oh heck yeah! Especially because I hadn't seen performers that sing that. I used I know Diego. Diego was one of the main guys that would perform over there, and now he performs here in Alegrias, across the street from Sevillas.
So somebody that you used to know over there now performs live music over here?
Yeah, he's usually there Thursdays. Yeah, and we spoke for a bit like a long time ago, but I couldn't get myself together back then to start practicing and see if I could perform with them and stuff. But maybe in the future, who knows?
Yeah,
'cause I really that's one of my passions, style of music. But yeah, when I heard that type of music was when I was in the choir, and I went to Sevillas for the first time, and I heard it, and I was just like, oh, I'm like, I am digging this. And then I just started doing a lot of research, and then I started learning some of their songs, and then we got together and we made a group, and then we just started jamming.
That's cool. So I see this is a part of your history that I don't remember. I don't remember you living in Riverside.
Not Riverside. I lived in Colton and in Rialto.
So from there, you would head that way. You would head out to Riverside.
Yeah.
So how far was it drive from Colton, Rialto, like for you to go to Riverside?
So from Colton to get to the mission, to the mission,
The downtown area, yeah.
It was maybe like a 15-minute drive.
Oh,
from Colton.
That's quick.
From Rialto, depending on what I took, sometimes I would take the freeway or I would take the market, the main street that would take you that way. So if I took the street, it would take me about maybe 25 minutes, and if I would take the freeway without traffic, maybe 20 minutes.
Okay.
So it wasn't far.
So how long were you out there before you guys moved this way?
Moved where?
Over here. Like, were you and your family? Is that where your mom and dad still live?
My parents and my sister, they all still live in Rialto.
They're in Rialto. Oh, okay. So that's where you go visit when you go to Rialto.
Yeah.
But so then, did you end up moving down here because of school?
To Long Beach?
No, to L.A.
L.A.
Yeah, because I know you didn't live in Long Beach first. Like no. When I met you, you weren't living in Long Beach. I
was in Rialto.
Yeah, you were in Rialto. That's right.
Yeah.
When I first met you.
Yeah.
So is this the first time you lived in L.A. is here in Long Beach?
No, well, in Long Beach, yeah. But I used to live in Inglewood. I was renting a back house for my uncle in Inglewood. And
is that when you were going to school? That's
when I was going to school, and then I also would stay at my ex-girlfriend's house in Culver City.
Oh, okay.
And West LA, Culver City area.
Yeah.
And because she literally lived like 15 minutes from the AI.
This is a history that I've never even thought about asking you. Like, when you would stay with her over in Culver City,
mm-hmm.
what was that like for you? Like, because That means Culver City. You were by Burbank. You were by Glendale.
Oh yeah, I
you
was
were
all over. Yeah,
yeah, like
and I know a lot of those places. But during that time, I wasn't going to like the Huntington Library. I didn't even know about those. So, I mean, we would go to the Getty or the original Getty and
right,
stuff.
the one that's over by the ocean.
Yeah,
Love
exactly.
that
So
one.
we would do those, and we would do a lot of hikes in Santa Monica Mountains and Topanga Canyon and Malibu, and
Yeah.
we did a lot of that stuff. Um, but we really didn't hit. We probably hit up Pasadena probably once or so. Was it? We were mostly like all west, the Palisades and
Did you
beach.
ever go to like Sunset?
Oh, 100.
Or, you guys did that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
100%.
Okay.
So yeah, even like the farmers markets, that big farmers market that they have over there by Beverly Hills.
It's the one you're talking about, the Grove, where one side of it is a farmer's market and the other side of it is like more modern stores.
Yes.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but for some reason that was off my radar until I think kid number 3, kid number 4, something like that. That's
Yeah.
when we kind of realized that there was something over on that side, and we started visiting that location. But I think by the time that I got there, so if you visited there, I'm sure you were many, many years before I ever went there. So when you visited to that specific location, did they have a big old giant movie theater already? And a big water fountain in the middle? And like, because I know they didn't have like the Apple store, for example. That didn't come until later.
I want to say no.
Yeah, I don't think, right? Any of that stuff was there?
No.
I know.
They done so many modifications over there, man.
I think the only thing that hasn't changed is the farmer's market side.
Yeah,
That's the only part that stayed exactly
new.
the same.
Like what's changed a lot too is Third Street over there by Santa Monica.
Oh, big
That's
time.
changed big time. I went not so long ago. Where the heck?
Yeah.
Oh, when I went for the march thing that they were doing for the whole COVID thing.
okay.
When I went out and I parked in one of the parking structures, and I'm like, dude, this is different.
Way different.
Yeah.
I used to feel safe when I would go over there. I don't feel safe anymore.
Well, no, I still felt safe,
I didn't
but
feel safe.
I was just saying like there's new buildings and
A
new
lot of
there's
new buildings, yeah.
a lot
Yeah,
of new
yeah.
stuff there. So that's what. But again, I went there in the day, so like, I don't know how it is at night over there, but.
When I think, if I remember correctly too, because I was homeless for a year, in my car when I was like in my early 20s.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I was like 19 or 20 or something like that. But that was one of the places that I would go to because I was working. I was working 5 days a week, and then when I was sleeping in my car, I was such an idiot. But that's one of the places I would go visit. And from what I remember, that's 25 years ago. 25 years ago, Third Street Promenade, like all the shops there were like mom and pop. They weren't like name brand places.
Exactly, and I prefer that. I prefer the mom and pop ones
so much more.
Yeah.
They had bookstores and little coffee shops and like record stores.
Yeah,
it was awesome, man. I miss that kind of stuff.
That's one of the reasons why I don't like going over there anymore.
I don't like going to a lot of places because of that. Like it's one of the things that I love about places like Pasadena and I
love historical places.
Yeah, any town that has maintained some of its older stuff. Like I'm not against like newer places opening, but I love places that still have like a downtown. Like there's a place in Altadena that if you take the 60 and then you take the like the 210 and you get off over there Sierra Madre, that you get off there, their downtown is like an old school little downtown with little shops and stuff. So I love that kind of
And the thing is, I've been to so many spots, man, like all over LA, that it's all blurred to me now.
All the drugs and drinking.
No. It's all a blur to me because I've done so much places, man. Like I traveled a lot with my ex.
Yeah.
And I forget like when I started going again traveling to Arizona and stuff like that, and I've gone with my family or my cousins, and I'm like, I'll tell them, oh, I haven't been here, and then when we get there, I'm just like, oh, wait a minute.
I have been here.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, I forgot I did this trip with a long time ago, and I just completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
So, especially when we done hikes around here, like just in the LA mountains for hikes, I'm just like, wait, I've done this one too.
That's funny.
Yeah. That's my problem, man. Like, when I get through like a breakup or something happens, I do my best to I want to let it go. I want to forget about it. That I just completely erase it off my head, and then I start.
Yeah, but forget the person. Don't forget the places.
I know, but I don't want to like put No,
at this point, just like form a new image in your head, like whoever you want to be your best friend. For me, it's like Mr. T. So then I would just put Mr. T in those situations. Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, Mr. T and me, we had ice cream right there, and Mr. T and I.
Yeah, but a lot of good spots over there. But yeah, that
a lot has changed, though, like you said. A lot has changed. Yeah. It's pretty.
And
wild.
I almost moved to downtown Los Angeles because I have a family member that owns an apartment complex over there. Oh, wow. And I went to go look at the place, and she was going to charge me really cheap. But the only reason why, and I liked it because I was a art major.
Right.
And they had an elevator that will go to the rooftop. And the rooftop, you could see all the skyscrapers and all that. Yeah. And I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, this is the perfect place where I could draw and just do, a lot of cool stuff. But when I went down and I saw all the transients.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and my mom was just like, no, mijo. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, no. I can't do that. There was just too many of them, man.
Yeah. And that was back then.
And that was back then, exactly.
Now it's wild.
Right, yeah, exactly. So I just like...
So then I meet you at Wonderground, and you're doing the drive from
Rialto
to Wonderground every day.
2 hours, yeah.
A 2-hour drive
because of traffic.
Oh,
that was killing me, man.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I've been driving since my college years because I was, for a moment, I did live with my, in Inglewood. That's the reason why I moved, because I was traveling from Colton to Santa Monica, back and forth, and then we moved to
Rialto.
And then from Rialto, same thing. And then I moved, and then I had issues with my uncle, and I moved back. And then same cycle. And then when I started working, it took a few more years, but then later on, I got the job here at Disney, and then I again doing that drive, and I'm just like, I can't do this. I've been doing this drive, and it was killing my car.
Well, it was I didn't know it was taking you that long.
Yeah.
So
man.
Wait.
That's not even that far compared to some other cast members.
Oh, I know. We don't want to talk about that. But so then when I start working at Wonderground, are you still doing that drive?
At the moment, yeah, because remember you helped me move some stuff, didn't you?
I did. We helped you move in here, me and my wife.
Yeah.
So then this is the first time you end up living
on my own.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, I was slightly living on my own with my uncle and like renting the spot, but they're all still there, so it's not.
Yeah, that is wild, dude. That's wild. I didn't know all that. For some weird reason,
you just forgot.
No, for some weird reason, I thought you had lived on your own for a long time, but you were living like.
I mean, I've been living out here for like almost 8 years now.
Yeah, I know. It went by like that.
Exactly.
That's crazy. Yeah, it went by. Yeah. It went by fast, man. That's nice. We're about to do our service awards.
Oh shoot! Next month.
No. Well, no. The month.
No, 2 months.
No, in March. In March. Yeah. So it's pretty wild. I wish we were doing it the same night. That's
vegan lobster. It's just joking.
It's just a cabbage shaped like a lobster with bell peppers for the hands. Look at it, chicken of the sea.
Yeah. No, but this place, I've enjoyed. That's why I haven't left here. I mean, also that the rent is. So
yeah, it's insane. No, this is a good spot. I mean, I was telling my brother-in-law, like, describing where you live, because we were talking about Long Beach, and I lived in Long Beach before I got married.
Yeah.
And I loved living in Long Beach, even though I lived in the ghetto.
Yeah.
And then he lived in Long Beach while he was married, like when he first got married, and he lived in the ghetto. And then I was telling him where you live, and he's like, "Oh, he's kind of in the ghetto." And then I said, "It's weird, but I loved it. Like it didn't matter. It doesn't feel like living in
And the thing is it's not really in the ghetto because we're pretty much borderline with the ghetto. Like if you drive
borderline ghetto.
Well, from I want to say 6th Street down.
Yeah.
That's when it starts getting ghetto-ish.
Oh, yeah. No, there's levels.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, for sure. I mean, even where I live in Paramount, it's pretty nice, and it's still kind of ghetto-ish, but it's still pretty nice. But so there's definitely levels, but I was telling him, like, I've never enjoyed more, like, living than when I lived in Long Beach, with my buddies. Like, it just, I don't know. And then we had, like, this stupid, simple routine. There was a Taco Bell down at the bottom of our, we lived on, off of, PCH.
PCH.
And if you, over by the traffic circle, but we live, we
close to, like, Signal Hill and all that? Around that area?
We were on this side of Signal Hill, but
Okay.
so if you drove up to the street that we lived on, we were on a hump.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
And then you would walk down.
Yeah,
So
so I know which Taco Bell you're talking about there.
yeah,
too.
we'd walk down to the
That
corner.
little area is kind of ghetto-ish.
Oh, yeah, for real. But we'd walk down to the corner and go to Taco Bell and then grab our food, and then we'd walk back up, and then, be hanging out. Or we'd order pizza, and we had like a system. We would play 007, and then we would watch the X-Files, and then we'd go to bed. And that was like our
that
whole,
was your routine?
Yeah, I mean, besides working and going to school and all that other stuff. But
how long did you live with your buddies?
A couple years. Yeah, a couple years before I got engaged, and then in fact,
this is when you were about to move to San Francisco. You were debating.
Well, I was. There was no debate. I had moved here to wait until my buddy got it ready.
Yeah.
And got a spot for me ready, and then I was gonna make my way out there. Then I met my wife, and everything changed. Changed completely. So, but yeah, I was there for a little while, and then my buddy sold the house that we lived in because he owned the entire property, and so he sold it because he was getting married. So he needed he wanted to have money to be able to purchase a house in a different location, and so he was selling the house, and he let us know, and so me and another buddy, we ended up moving in with a friend. Like he had a back house, so we were there all the way up until the point until I got married. But I got engaged while I was still, I got engaged while I was working at Motel 6, and I was the manager there. So I was living at Motel 6 for a little while.
Curiosity, I never asked you this. How did you propose?
So
I never asked you this question.
So I got everything set up and ready to go. I made it random. Literally, I conspired with my wife's sister just to help me out to make sure that she was there when I was going to go propose. So I made breakfast. Yeah. I made this elaborate breakfast, got up at 5, 6 in the morning, so super early, called her house. Her sister knew I was going to call. Her sister picked up. I said, hey, I'm about to make my way over. I just want to make sure that she's still there, because sometimes my wife would get up early to go to school. Yeah. And, so she'd get up early, start getting ready. But I knew she didn't have anything that day, so I felt pretty confident that it was all good.
But you just wanted to make sure, have it all back up, yeah.
Her sister goes into she's like, yeah, hold on, let me double check. Goes into her room, comes back, and she gets on the phone. She goes, she's not here. I'm like, what? She goes, she's not here. I'm like, where could she be? I mean, it's literally 5, 6 in the morning or whatever. I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. I hear a knock on my door. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna let you go. And she's like, okay, boom, let her go. I open my door. My wife is right there. I'm like, what are you doing here? And she said, I brought you breakfast. I started laughing so hard. And she's like, what? I'm like, come in. And she's like, what? I'm like, I made you breakfast. And she goes, what? And I said, sit down. And so she sat down on the couch, and then I got down on one knee, and I said, I was on my way over to your house to ask you to marry me, and you showed up at my house. I was going to bring you breakfast, and you showed up at my house, and you brought me breakfast. Will you marry me? And she's like, what? Like, yes.
That's adorable.
But totally messed up my plans. And we have a running joke that every time we've tried to plan or do something, something has always gotten in the way and has messed it up. Like we were going for
like it doesn't mess it up, but it skews it in a different direction.
It skews it in a different way. Yeah. Like it's just so weird. Like, yeah, we were on our way to our anniversary dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Car pooped out on us on the freeway. The guy who picked us up, the tow truck guy, totally offered to take us to the place and then to pick us up afterwards. Right. And we're like, no, it's all good, man. We ended up, doing our celebration, but we've always had like these weird. I mean, we just had a very strange life. Like I told you, she won a trip to Florida, back in 2008, and she won a trip to Walt Disney World. And so we stayed there for a week, and we stayed with my brother and sister-in-law, who were living in Florida at the time, for a week. So we were up there for 2 weeks. That's the only reason that Disney was even on my mind.
In your radar.
Yeah, when we got back, we were still having a really hard time getting business for our screen printing business.
Yeah.
Because in 2008, everything had fallen apart for the economy, and all the businesses had pulled back. And one of the first things they stopped doing was advertising.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that's what we did. It was advertising. If you were a construction company or you were a landscaping company, you were basically making T-shirts for your guys so that people knew who they were and who they worked for, and it was like advertisement. So all of that got, like, the budgets for all that stuff got cut by all these companies. So we were having a really tough time finding gigs, and my wife said, "What about Disney?" And I'm like, "No," and she's like, "Why not? You like when we went to Florida, they treated us really well. The customer service was out of this world. It was out of control." But it was also, when we went, it was the year of a million dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a promotion going on.
Right.
So everybody, all the cast members, everybody was on extra super like customer service high point,
Yeah.
So when I was looking around for different jobs, I finally went, all right, you know what? I worked at Starbucks for 5 years as a manager, but I didn't want to go back to Starbucks. So I said, and I didn't want to give up on the business. So I said, I just want a part-time. I just want to get a part-time. And I knew hospitality. I knew like hotels and stuff. So I applied for the Grand California Hotel and Spa. But then Disney came back and said, there's nothing available there right now, but we have a job for an auditor. Would you like that? And I said, well, I don't know what that is. And then they're like, don't worry, we'll train you. I said, okay, that's fine. So I was going to be an auditor, which I think is basically person walking around counting different people,
Yeah, it's kind of like what the RCs do.
Yeah,
when they're counting the monies and they're going from location to location.
Yeah. So that's originally what they had offered me. And then a week before I went in to do traditions, they called me and said, hey, a spot opened up at the Disneyland Hotel front desk. Are you interested? And I said, yeah, I'd rather do that, because I knew that.
Right.
So that's how I came to Disney. And I came in as a part-timer, and things still weren't getting better for the business. Like, we still weren't picking up any business, and I was working part-time. And then we talked it over, and my wife's like, maybe if you can give full-time, that'd be a good idea. And I said, yeah, I'll see. So then I picked up enough shifts, and that was back. I don't know how they handle it now, but back in the day,
you get so many shifts, you automatically
get transferred into full-time. So so that's what happened. I got transferred into full-time, and then I was there I was there when Wonderground wasn't there, and it used to be a store that was a boat.
Hawaiian strip, wasn't it?
No, it was a boat store.
Yeah, they sold Hawaiian clothing and stuff like that.
Yeah, they sold nautical stuff.
Yes.
So, and for me, in my memory, One day I'm walking by and the place is open. I walk by again, the place is closed. I walk by again, all of a sudden it's an art gallery. Like that's how it like was for me in my brain. And then I told you, like, the first time I was walking by on assignment, and I look in and I see you holding a fist full of Copic.
Yeah, that's how it would work. I would just have a grip of them.
Yeah, you just had like a whole bunch of them. And I made a because
if I had bigger hands, you would have seen more.
Yeah, or you were under the giant. And the reason those even popped in my radar is because I think 2 years prior to that, I believe 2 or 3 years prior to that, I talked to Adam Hughes at San Diego Comic-Con, and because I had seen, like, he used to work in pencil a lot.
Yeah.
And he would make gradations with his pencils. Then all of a sudden I saw his work shift, and he started doing this watercolorish type stuff, but in the same tone.
Right.
And I'm like, what the heck is that? Like, how's he doing that? And his work, like, jumped, you know?
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. So anyway, and back then I was nervous to talk to artists. You know,
Yeah.
Anybody who I saw as professional, I was nervous to talk to them. But I had to know. I'm like, how's he doing that?
Yeah.
So I walked over and I said, Mr. Hughes, can I talk to you for a second? And he's like, Mr. Hughes is my father. Just call me Adam. You know, he has a really good sense of humor.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I don't know how to. Okay, so your work looks different now. And he's like, uh-oh. Bad good or good? And I said, no. Your work before is great. Your work now is great. But I've noticed is something different is like happened, like your gradation now. How are you doing it? Like, are you doing that with watercolor? Because you're not doing that with pencil. And then he's like, and he put his finger up, and then he reached down underneath his table and he pulled out, and I'd never seen it before, but he had like this, the super deluxe, like the big giant Copic case. The acrylic one that that they sell it with.
Now, were all of them all like different gradients of black and whites and stuff?
Well,
or
it was
did he have because he works mostly black and white, right? And
he had no, not anymore, but he
back then.
But yeah, he had the warm gray, the neutral gray, and the cool gray. He had all those.
Yeah.
So I said, "What is that?" And he goes, "These are Copic marks." So he broke it all down, explained it to me, and then he showed me a sample of how he worked it. And so, and then, so he told me where I could find some. So I bought a couple, started trying them out in my work. Really liked how they function.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing too. When I started working with them, I had the old school square ones.
Oh.
So
I like those.
I love them.
I don't know.
I love them because I got used to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever you work with first is the thing that you kind of get
very true.
Accustomed
to. You got to get adapted to it.
Yeah. So I like the Copic Chow ones with the brush. I do like that. But I have a fondness for the other ones too. So I use both of them. And that's when, like I said, when I walked by and I saw you holding them, I said, I know what those are. But why is that guy using them? I totally thought that store was owned by somebody else. You know, it wasn't until I started talking to you and we started chatting that I came to understand, like, it was a Disney owned location and you were using Copics and like, it was pretty fascinating.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you how I got involved with Disney? We never had this conversation.
The only thing I remember is you when you started your life at Disney, you were custodial.
Yeah. But
I don't remember how you made the jump over to Wonderground.
Okay, so let me explain. So I had lost my job during the recession from 2008 when I used to work for MOS doing the drafting 3D modeling stuff. And that's when I was with my ex. And when I lost him, no big deal. I got savings, whatever. And then I was getting EDD, so I started traveling with her. We were just going place. And in my head, I'm like, I have a degree. I'll be able to find a job. Like nothing, not knowing that a lot of jobs during that time were going overseas. Everything was changing.
Right.
So in 2009, close to 2010, that's when I started looking. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't find anything. And I'm struggling to find, work. And then she told me, why don't you try Disney? And so I tried the studios. Everything was like, you had to be a senior artist. And there was like nothing like, and I didn't have like too much seniority. Like, even though I was doing some 3D stuff, I was only in that company for like 2 years.
Right.
So it wasn't enough to get in there. And then when I did animation for about a year. So that's still not enough. So I was like, oh my gosh. So a buddy of mine had told me, well, just get in. And I heard that they hire within, and maybe you could transfer to an art thing later on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. And, you know, I like working with my hands. I don't care. Like, I'm very like, I don't care what kind of job it is. So I had chosen custodial because I knew custodial would be like a sure thing for some reason.
Right.
The other one was, I think, the photography, and the other one was I think it was something to do with like the acting, like with the actors and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And sure enough, I got the custodian one. So I gave myself a year. I'm like, okay, if I can't transfer to an art something within a year, I'm out. I'm gonna start looking for something else.
Right.
So 3rd month into 4th month, I find out about this water art that custodials are doing that was originating from Tokyo Disney. And from Tokyo Disney, I went to Florida, and then Florida had trained a few of our certain custodians to do water art. So then I wanted to get involved because they'll give you like this little license that says that you're a custodial artist.
Oh, okay.
And so I learned them really quick. Like, they gave you this pamphlet on how to do Mickey, like the 4, Disney, Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, and Goofy, and Donald. And so within a week, I'm like, oh, I got this down. And they're very beautiful, right? So they're like, oh, here's your license. Whenever you have a chance, after you finish, doing what you have, your work job duties, you can do that for guests and whatever. And usually, like, I want to be sweeping, because when you sweep, you have more opportunity to do that. But then I found out, if you're doing restrooms, if you bust out the restrooms quick, you have like 45 minutes to just I would just draw pretty much all this time. So I would do the parade route, and this is like my 6th month. I was probably 6 months in now. I'm doing like I had learned how to do other characters like Ariel, Winnie the Pooh, and I would do the Pooh joke because people sometimes wouldn't see what I'm drawing, so I would draw Winnie the Pooh's face, and then when people step on it, I'm like, oh, you're stepping on Pooh, and they're like, oh no, and then they'll look at the character, they start laughing. So people were just following me, like I will have like maybe 40 people just following me through the parade route while I'm doing just characters, and I will interact with like with Pluto and Goofy. They'll see me draw. I'm like Goofy will look at me, and I'm like, oh, you want me to draw you? And he'll do his little
right.
And then I'll start drawing them, and he gets excited, and then he'll get the other characters, and they'll come in, and so we're like, and people just ate it up. So one day, this girl that was working for Imagineering, she was she was doing some sort of like job for them, and she started talking to me. She was watching me do all this stuff, and then it intrigued her, so she started talking to me, and she kind of almost like interviewed me a little bit, and I gave her like a little bit of my background and all that, and she's like, oh, okay, awesome. And she's like, yeah, I've been meeting up with other people that has caught my attention, and you're like one of them. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And that's when she told me that she was from Imagineer, and so on. She told me, I can't remember everything, but 2 months later, so this is now 6, 7, 8. So I'm at like 8 months in. I'm doing my job, and then one of the managers talks to me, and he's like, hey, like, dude, man, congratulations, and this, and I'm like, congratulations for what? I'm like, yeah, like the letter that they sent you, and I'm like, what letter are you talking about? I'm like, wait, you haven't heard about the letter about you? I'm like, no. And I'm like, stop what you're doing, go to the office. So I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, right? So So I go and I talk to one of the my main managers. I'm like, hey, like, what's his name? Was telling me about some sort of letter that's about me. I have no idea what you guys talking about. And then nobody hasn't told you. I'm like, yeah. And then so he comes out and he grabs it and he's like, so somebody wrote a piece on you and some other people. And it was that Imagineering lady.
Okay.
So she wrote this article, and this article that she wrote, she sent it to the president of Disney. So the president of Disney saw this, and then he sent it to the vice president. And the vice president trickled it down to the management. And I had no idea about this. And I see, and it was I have a copy of it somewhere. I don't know where I have it. But so so they were just congratulating me about all that. So then within less than a month, they tell me, hey, you gotta apply for this position, and I had no idea. And so and it was like for the sketch program. I thought it was gonna be for Disneyana, and
your managers told you this.
Yes.
Remember what we talked about? I think like maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Remember I told you like good managers.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
100%.
Dude, it was the same thing with me. Like the manager at the hotel.
Yeah.
He set that up.
Yeah.
He was the bridge. It was up to me to cross it.
Right.
But he's like, I know you love drawing. I heard about like something's opened up.
Yes.
Go apply. And
right.
he set that up. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'll apply for it. And then so I did, and then I got like the call back, and then they told me, yeah, you're gonna definitely get it. And then they knew about what had happened with the Imagineering and all that stuff, because they saw that what I did. And Sonia found out about it too. Reason why she wanted me to do some of the water art in front of the gallery, but I kind of stopped her on that because she actually wanted me to get big paper and get paint and paint on the floor, and I'm like, I ain't doing that.
She was wild.
Yeah,
she was wild.
I know.
I love her spirit.
I do, man. I do too. But there's just no way, because that would have been a big mess, man.
Yeah. She's like, Kenny, get in your underwear, and then I want you to.
So once I'm there, I'm just thinking, because every time I was there, I was chatting with some of the artists at Disneyana.
Yeah.
And so I thought I was gonna be working there. I wasn't even thinking of off the page. I thought it was gonna be right there. So I get trained, and then I know it was Joy that was there too, and because we both came in at the same time. And then I find out, no, Kenny, you're not gonna be in Disney. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be off the page. and they're like, no. And I'm like, where? Like, that's just no. I never seen anything in downtown Disney.
Right.
And that's when they're like, it's gonna the Wonderground Gallery. I'm like, what is that? Because it was still not open.
Yeah.
They had just almost finished constructing it, and I still had about almost a month. So they gave me a month of training because I was gonna open up the gallery.
Oh.
So I was like so excited, because I'm like, dude, does that mean I'm gonna be like the only one with the seniority there?
For real. Well, you were full time right off the bat, right?
Right there, yeah. Well, I was already full time. No, I didn't get full time until I became an artist.
Right.
I was pure part time. Yeah. And so yeah, once I got in there, I was like still part time, and then that didn't last for like 2 months, and then boom, they just brought me to full time, because they're like, no, you got to be full time.
Yeah, that's dope, man.
So yeah, so that's how I got into the gallery. And then, but it was crazy because I learned so much from Kevin Hill and David Mitchell, and then Brian, and the other lady, I forgot her name already, that was not above Brian, but they're like in the pretty much same level, because she was one of my trainers. But when I got to the gallery, when Sonia, when she gave me the supplies of like all the media arts that she had like charcoal, chalk, paint, color pencils, pins, and I'm just like, we only work with colored pencils. And she's like, yeah, but we're different. And she said it, and I'm like, all right. And she's like, can you like you have all like the store wasn't gonna open up even though so the store it was like almost 2 months because a month and then I was in the gallery still closed. There's still papers and people can't see and I'm just there by myself, nobody there, just drawing. She was like she was asking me to create new things, like create like a different style. So I started doing stuff with chalk and charcoal, and I would show it to him. She's like, "Oh, I like that." And then I'm like, I wasn't happy with it, so I was going to Kevin Hill and Mitchell and showing them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, they really want you guys to do something different." I'm like, yeah, I like you guys trained me on this, not on that. And then I'm like, it's very messy because it's chalk and charcoal, especially on that type of paper.
Yeah,
because it's not meant for that type of paper. Yeah. And so once I figured out a niche to get it going, it worked out and people were loving it. And people were, this is before Alex, because Alex Mayer had left already, and it was, what's his name? I forgot the other guy's name. That was the Alex Mayer. Monty, thank you. Yeah. And so he was fine with all this. Because he was the one that was getting us the other designs. Yeah. Yeah. Which was a no-no. But then I just got sick and tired of it after like 4 months of it, and I just brought it to Sonia and I think Nakalani at the time. I'm like, hey, can we try markers? And if we are gonna do markers, can we do Copic? And then they're like, you know what? All right. And they got me like I told them like which ones, and then they got me like the whole set, and I'm just
that's
like,
awesome.
All right, cool. Let's get this going. Yeah. And then that's when I started asking for the Cintiq and all that stuff. Were you there? Were you there?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Did we have the Cintiq already?
No, we got the Cintiq when I got there. Like, I think when Patrick and I got there, then we started like asking and pushing and pulling for more things. Yes. and started getting more set up.
Because we had so many ideas, and we were like, man, we could do so much.
Well, I mean, it wasn't because. When I started working at Wonderground, I didn't even go visit the other locations. I think I got trained.
I trained you.
You trained me, but I got trained by Brian as well.
Yes, that's
and
right.
So I went over to Off the Page.
That's right.
And then, it kept sticking in my head. I kept going. Why don't we have a? Oh, hold on a second. Here we go. There we go. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
But I was like, why don't we have a desk? Why don't we have an animation desk? So that's when I started. When I emailed over to the studio to see if they had anything like, and that was a long shot. I really thought there's no way.
I'm so glad you did that, man.
I thought they were all gone. So then it was cool that they said we still have some in storage and we'll offer one to you, because remember I know I told Sonia. But I think it was Allison was there by that time, because I think Nakalani had gotten her new position. Yeah. And I was really happy that they were willing to pay for it. But it was super nice when the studio said, "No, you don't have to pay for it. We're going to give it to you." So
I mean, it's Disney's property.
I know, but sometimes you do have to buy things in between one thing to another. Right. Like I think I told you when they used to take us out for like high performance at the hotel, they still had to technically buy the dinners that they took us to. It was just at a crazy discount. So even though it was all internal. So but yeah, man, that's the history of Copics right there.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we might as well get into it. Let's get into the last episode of Hawkeye. Episode 6. Yes,
episode 6, man. Such a fantastic episode, man.
Yeah, so great. Just great series all around. Like we said last week. Yeah. 5 sombreros. Cinco. All the way.
Yeah, and you know what? I agree with you. Even the first one, I think it's all a 5.
Yeah, especially looking. It was weird. The first one was pretty slow to me, but then now that we have all of them. If you take it all together, it's perfect tone and perfect buildup. Moving forward, we had alluded to it a little bit last week when we were talking about 5, and you wanted to drop in 6 as well. but I kind of wanted to hold off because I really felt like 6 deserved its own shout out and its own kind of like
its own little glory.
Yeah. So.
But I agree.
Yeah, it just great
because it shows so much.
Great episode, great finish. Yeah, and they did a great job too. Of one thing that I liked about this one that didn't feel forced to me, it felt for some weird reason very natural. Was the inclusion of the LARPers, the live action role playing people.
Oh yes.
The way that they brought them into the into the final, and how they brought them in like halfway through the series felt very normal, felt very natural that they would be helping them in some capacity, and still kind of staying out of the way.
They felt like ushers.
Yeah, they were awesome. They were awesome. Yeah, so this last one, we get to see Kate and Clint team up intentionally.
Yes,
because you see Clint basically go, "Hey, you're my partner." Like after all this, like he finally recognizes that.
Right.
You see Yelena come in to this episode, carrying that same kind of energy, that fun, but dangerous, and then you get to see a very emotional moment that they, again, I don't even know how to explain it. Sometimes there are some things that happens in some episodes or series where it feels forced, but that moment where she's beating the crap out of him and he's letting her, he's not fighting back, and then he does that little whistle.
Yes, and that got me.
And she's like, "How do you know that? Like nobody knows that. How do you know that?" And then he's like, "She used to talk about you all the time, And
that's when she realized there's no way this like he would do that to her.
Yeah, it was a beautiful moment and a crazy good way to wrap up what she's feeling and even what he's feeling. Like both of them have loss.
Yeah, they have grief,
but in a different way. Like hers is like, I have to kill someone, and obviously it's you, and his is like, I don't know what to do with my grief. I don't know how to escape it. I feel guilty for not being able to save Natasha. Yeah. Even though I know that ultimately it was the right decision, I feel guilty that it was the right decision.
Right.
So he's just like, he's like, it should have been me.
Yeah.
Should have been me the whole time. And so it's cool to see that get wrapped up.
Yeah.
There's so many good comedic moments as well. Many. With him being in the tree with the owl, or friggin' them shrinking that.
And I'm so glad they brought it full circle too, from the first movie when she sees him as a hero, and I was waiting for her to basically tell him like I remember seeing you.
Yeah, when I was a kid.
Exactly, and when she fight, because I was like, when is she gonna tell him this? Like, there's moments where I'm like, oh, this is when she's gonna tell him that she saw him as a kid, and him being like all touchy, like he got emotional because like, oh shoot, like she saw me doing my thing. So that was just cool that they brought it full circle.
Also loved Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin.
Yes, man.
I loved that the way that they filmed him, it made him look much bigger than he normally is. Also loved that it was realistic that he's throwing Kate around.
Yeah,
because she's like small person.
She's petite.
Yeah, she's a small person,
especially compared to him.
And he's like beating the crap out of her, and she ends up outwitting him at the end and uses
again, he's not beating because he's like, to me,
I mean, he's throwing
her hard and stuff like that, but he wasn't trying to kill her.
No, because we talked about it. He could have killed her, but he's like, get out of my way, you're like a nuisance.
Yeah, exactly. He's just trying to go after the mom.
But he's also like showing his power.
Yeah.
Like he's just like batting her around like she's nothing.
Right.
And so that was, I liked that that Disney and this team, and Marvel did not go the normal route of like, this person can beat up this bigger person. Instead, they handled it very realistic.
Yes.
And it's weird too, because if it was Yelena fighting him, I would be like, of course she's beating the crap out of him. Or if it was Black Widow fighting him, it'd be the same way.
Right.
Because there's so much experience and
Correct.
What their pedigree is.
Yes.
But you know that Kate is tough. You know that she can handle herself. When she was fighting the jumpsuit mafia or the tracksuit mafia, clearly she can handle it. But it was nice to see that difference of like being overpowered,
right,
and yet at the same time still succeeding. It made it even sweeter when she took him out. And then we talked about it too on our own before this conversation of at the end when you see the Kingpin and Echo.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "There's no way she didn't kill him."
Yeah,
there's no way because
they didn't want to show it.
You don't take out. No, well,
you don't bring in.
You don't bring him in only to have off him like this early. Like they're going to be able to eat off of him for a long time.
Right.
Like use that character in many different things.
Bringing him in this, and then bringing in
Matt Murdock,
Matt Murdock in the full
Daredevil.
Now it's official. I mean, it was already official, but it makes it even more.
Yeah, it's official. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's double stamped.
Yeah, I loved. We talked about this off air, but I love too that the Watch ended up representing in the comic books.
Oh yes, yeah.
Clint marries another superhero named Mockingbird, so it was nice to see them do that. Where Clint's wife, who we've met and known since Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
No, wait, no, not Civil War.
Wait,
it wasn't Civil War. Let me see. Oh, it was Age of Ultron. So since Age of Ultron, we've known Clint was married and had kids.
Right.
So it's cool now to look back at this and to go, okay, Mockingbird has been, she's been from that point until now, and it's more meaningful. So that was a cool little
Easter egg.
In fact, I'll look up some Easter eggs right now.
Yeah, but man, overall, man, I really enjoyed these episodes. Like I can't wait for other Marvel. Like, is there another Marvel one, or was this the last Marvel series?
Well, we're in the new year now.
Yeah.
And Moon Knight, She-Hulk.
Yes. I completely forgot about those. Yeah. Moon Knight is the next one, but man, I'm trying to think of other little fun things because I literally saw these last week, so I haven't rewatched them. What else was get out of this?
Here, I'll give you some Easter eggs in a second.
Oh, go for it.
It's coming up.
The eggs.
The eggs
of Easter.
Yes, better than alien eggs.
Yeah.
You keep talking.
Oh, I thought you had him. Oh, here you go.
Sorry, it fell asleep again. Let me see here.
Man, but that sequence, man, when she's trying to stop what's her name from getting Flynn, and they're battling, but they're also chatting and a conversation.
That was a good kick.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh man, that's so freaking good, man. I love her accent, man. Like, I can't wait.
Here we go. Let's see. So 27 Hawkeye details from episode 6 that are small, smart, and just super fun to spot. Okay, so first, Vincent D'Onofrio returns as Wilson Fisk, and the first outfit we see him in is a nod to an iconic comic book look. In the Marvel Comics, Wilson Fisk, also known as a Kingpin, is often wearing a white suit jacket and walks with a diamond-topped cane, just like he does here. There's an extra little thing to that, is that the suit that he wore in that episode is the same suit that he was drawn, like it's a cover of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he's got the cane up and he's like attacking Spider-Man.
Oh, yes,
Spider-Man's
I know
on
which
the
one
ground.
exactly you're talking about. Yeah.
So that they took that directly from the comics and
brought into this.
Yeah. Eleanor working with Kingpin is similar to what happens with her character in the comics. In the Marvel Comics, Eleanor is thought to have died, but she's actually working for Madame Mask, aka one of Kate's biggest rivals.
Madame Mask?
Yeah. While in Grill's apartment, you can spot a poster of Dragons of Despair, which is the first book in the classic Dungeons and Dragons series written by Tracy Hickman. Clint finally calling Kate his partner is a sweet callback to Hawkeye episode 4, where Kate referred to Clint as her partner and he said they weren't. 5. Kingpin's white suit jacket with the red Hawaiian print shirt underneath is another nod to Marvel Comics. He wears this exact outfit on the cover and throughout Amazing Spider-Man Family Business issue 1.
I remember that one.
From 2014. When Kate and Clint are making more trick arrows, Clint builds an arrow using pepper spray from their LARP friends. In the comics, a tear gas arrow is the common trick arrow for Clint and Kate. Number 7, you can also see another Pym arrow tip. This time it's red instead of blue, which Kate ends up using to shrink a Trust-a-Bro van at the end of the episode. In Ant-Man, we learn that red Pym particles make things shrink while blue make them grow.
Yeah. And that was funny too because he's like, what do we do with them? And he's like, I have to get back.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Kate is taking the time to label all the trick arrows is a perfect nod to when she suggested Clint do exactly that in episode 3. Remember when they're driving around and she's like, what does this arrow do? He goes, I don't know. And she goes, you don't have any, you know, like you don't have any labels for any of these? He goes, no, I just know what they are. And if you, 9, and if you look closely, you can see that Kate has made labels for airbag, freeze, flash bomb, and icebreaker arrows. 10. Clint still has a bunch of Stark Industry tech that he uses for trick arrows, which I'm assuming he grabbed before Stark Industries was raided by the Department of Damage Control when we saw them in Spider-Man.
You know what I think? He has like the same similar machine probably that Spider-Man had.
Oh, that little, but like a miniaturized one?
Yes, to create his stuff.
This could be a stretch, but in the comics, the boomerang trick arrow has a flat tip, and I pray Clinton and made Kate one here because I just... Oh, no, that doesn't even matter. That's dumb. When Kate and Clint get to the holiday party, Kate talks about how Gary fired her from the only job she ever had. In Hawkeye episode 1, Kate took a tray of drinks and pretended to work for Gary. Oh, I forgot about that. 13, when Kate catches up to Yelena by the elevators, Yelena calls her by her full name once again, just like she did throughout episode 5. Oh, that's right, Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop. When Yelena rips off Kate's black outfit and reveals her new superhero suit, it looks exactly like Kate Bishop's iconic Hawkeye outfit from the comics. After Kate presses all of the elevator... Oh, that was funny. Yeah. It's like, tries to do it the first time, she slaps her hand, then she's like... After Kate presses all of the elevator buttons, Yelena calls her Sika, which is Russian for bitch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Sika.
All right.
In Black Widow, Yelena also calls Natasha this after she steals the keys to her motorcycle.
and then I called her a
no, and then I said Sika. When Yelena and Kate are fighting through the offices, you can see a sign reading Tanner Dees and Associates. Tanner Bean was a writer and executive story editor on Hawkeye, while Courtney Dees was a set decorating production assistant. 17. When Kate slides down the building, she does her very own fighting landing pose. You know, like the one Yelena made fun of Natasha and Black Widow. When Clint falls into the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree, he comes face to face with an owl. In 2020, a teeny owl was rescued from inside the tree after he made his way to NYC and was hiding in the branches. Oh, that's funny. So that happened in real life where there was a little owl in that tree that they put up the one they put up in Rockefeller Center every year. And so so that must be like a little nod to that.
Oh, that's cool.
when Clint and Kate start fighting the tracksuit mafia on the ice rink, Clint reveals that he's wearing his new suit, which is a nod to his look in the comic books. Clint reveals that he's going to have to ask Scott how to unshrink the two tracksuit mafia members. Not only do I love that Clint and Scott Lang are still best friends, but I'd like to think that this will lead to Kate meeting Casey Lang, which is going to happen. Casey Lang is Scott's daughter, but when he got back from the 5-year blip, she was all grown up.
Right.
And so she's set to become, I think, the new Wasp in the comics.
The new Wasp?
Yeah.
But what's her name, Wasp?
Yeah. But they've had multiple Wasps and Ant-Man.
When it comes to those characters, I'm not too familiar.
Haley Stansfield, which is Kate Bishop,
yeah,
is rumored to be appearing in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantum.
I hope so.
And in the comics,
I need to see more of her.
Kate and Casey are part of the Young Avengers, alongside Billy and Tommy Maximoff, America Chavez, which, by the way, America Chavez is a character from the comics. Her first ever show up is in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. She's in the trailer, and I didn't notice her until I watched the trailer multiple times. But there's a part where a door's open.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
You see this girl in like an American style.
Yes.
So it's
I saw like a review, and they were talking about her, and then they showed her. Yeah, so
it's going to be fascinating to see what role she's playing in that movie, because she's, as far as I know, and I actually don't know too much of her history, but I didn't think she was a magical person. But I could be wrong now.
I don't know where she is.
Let's see. When Clint shoots an arrow at Kazi, he splits the arrow, which is a trick Kate didn't believe he could do back in episode 4. That's when he's like, "Nice shooting." He goes, "No." That actually took me by surprise. I was not expecting Clint to say that.
Yeah.
Not only does Kate use Clint's coin trick from episode 4 to blow up Kingpin, but she does the trick with one of her cufflinks. In Daredevil, we learn that Wilson wore the cufflinks in honor of his father. Oh, that's right. She took it from him, and then Clint does Yelena and Natasha's secret whistle at the end of their fight, which we last heard when Yelena visited Natasha's grave in Black Widow.
Yeah.
This moment is heartbreaking because Yelena probably assumed she would never hear it again after Natasha died. Clint mentions how Natasha flew a plane when she and Yelena were kids, which is a callback to the opening scene from Black Widow.
Yeah.
When Maya confronts Kingpin, it's a scene taken directly from the comics. We see this moment play out in Daredevil issue 15, which features Maya/Echo finding out the truth about how and why her dad died. I'm assuming this isn't the last we see of Wilson Fisk as Kingpin. Even though we heard a gunshot, I don't believe anything until I see a body.
Right. I agree.
I agree with that. After the fight, Jack gets invited to join the LARPers. That was funny. And God, I'd love to see it happen. In the comics, Jack, a.k.a. Swordsman, is a performer at various circuses.
Awesome.
And he ended up being... they had him being sinister, but he ended up turning pretty fun.
Oh my gosh, he was such a fun guy, man.
Jack, a.k.a. Swordsman, is a performer at various circuses and carnivals, and I hope this is a modern-day equivalent for the MCU and his character. In the comics, Jack also trained Clint Barton and eventually turns evil, but let's not dwell on that right now.
Aww.
And finally, we officially learn that the watch from the Avengers compound is Laura Barton's. We see Shield logo. Dang. I gotta keep an eye on that.
Shield logo in the watch.
All right, there we go. Engraved in the back, which means she was very clearly an agent at some point. In the comics, Bobby Morris goes by Agent 19, and she's Clint's love interest. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
I'm so happy that this theory came true because Linda Cardellini as Laura deserves so much a background story in the MCU. I really hope we aren't erasing Bobby, aka Mockingbird, from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Instead, we're just making Laura another agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all.
And that was a good way to give her, like, a little quick background.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah, I agree. So we will end by saying that we'll end this portion of it by saying that we both loved Hawkeye, the series as a whole.
100%.
Did you watch the last part, the musical?
Yes.
So dumb.
So silly.
Yeah. So, yeah, great series. Highly recommended. Ton of fun. Watched it with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little bit of language, but for the most part, it was super enjoyable.
That musical, that would definitely work at California Adventures.
100%.
Especially being next to that.
100%.
Yeah. If you will bring that
over in Avengers, Avengers Campus, over across from Spider-Man across from Doctor Strange, where they have the shield set up. It would totally work there because they have that roof part up on top.
No, but I'm talking about where they do the like the Frozen.
Oh yeah,
Actual theater, because it's right next to the other ride.
Yeah,
which is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. That
100%.
They could do like a really, really cool show with that, because then that would just connect the whole Marvel section in that area.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're moving on to the first episode of a brand new series for Star Wars, Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett. Oh, first of all, let's start out with sombreros. What do you think?
5. I
agree. Here's something that I was shocked by. My son is a hater. He did not like it.
What?
Yeah, he did. We haven't gotten a chance to sit down and talk about it, but he's like, yeah, I didn't like it. It was terrible. I'm like,
but what did he not like about it? You haven't sat down.
We haven't sat down and gotten a chance to like break it down so he could tell me what he didn't like.
Wait, but you've had all this time.
We actually haven't had time. We haven't had time to sit down and talk because he's been running and he's been doing all this other stuff. So, but I will pin him down to find out, because I do want to get his perspective, because for me, it was, I loved the whole thing. I loved the pace, the style. I loved the optics. I loved everything.
Look, I loved it, even though I felt that the CG for that doggy thing, to me, that was kind of whack, but it's tolerable because of
100%.
Yeah.
The doggy thing and the CG that you're talking about, completely the thing that makes up for it is that creature that they end up fighting.
Yeah.
That to me was like, it's all good. If you're going to have a couple things that are, the
that's
CG,
wonky.
not as great. That was like incredible to me. I loved that. So it just, for me, it was, I loved the way that they told the story, and also that you're going to get a chance to see how they
brought the whole circle back, man.
Yeah, 100%. They start the whole thing. What is it? They begin with
that's something. I'm sorry, that's something that everybody's been wondering. How the hell did he get out?
Right. And he got out by his wits. I mean, he got out with like, I've got a flamethrower. I'm gonna end up burning my way out of this monster. And he ends up basically burrowing a hole through, and
it's cool that's how he got those scars too, because of the acid of the stomach of that creature.
Well, but then they end up healing him in the Bacta tank or whatever. But that was dope, dude. We're gonna spoil Boba Fett if you haven't seen it at this point. I would say please go ahead and go somewhere, go watch it, and then come back and come back. Then you can listen to us. But the episode starts out with him in the does it open up with him inside the stomach, or does it open up with him in no, I think it opens up with him with the thing in his stomach mouth.
Yet
it opens up with him in the water in the Bacta tank with the thing in his mouth, and he's remembering.
Right.
So then I think. And then you see, but basically you see him in the stomach of the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
You see him wake up in there, and it's all disgusting. He's like he's getting eaten slowly, and
you see the stormtrooper.
He sees a stormtrooper, and he starts making his way over, and you don't know why. At least I didn't know why. And then you see him pull
it's like
an
the oxygen.
Yeah, he pulls an oxygen thing and hooks it up to his to get oxygen, to get air. So then from there, he starts cutting away.
And blast fire.
And then he turns his flamethrower on, and he starts burning through the creature, and then he busts out of the sand.
Like Walking Dead.
But then it cuts to
the present.
Yeah, because it keeps going back and forth. So then you see him get out of the Bacta tank. You see Fennec talk to him. She's like, boss, you know, they're here. And so then you see him get up, and he's talking to her. And
that was so cool when the droids are putting his armor.
What did it remind you of?
Freaking Iron Man.
Exactly. I believe because Jon Favreau created this series. Yeah. I believe this is Jon Favreau's homage to the first Iron Man. Yeah. You know, we'll look up Easter eggs for that one too.
Because that was sick, man.
Yeah. Yeah. But you see,
he's like,
yeah. So you see these droids armoring him up. And then he's sitting on the throne.
Poor Mandalorian. He has to do it himself.
And then you see people starting to come to pay tribute to him. Mm-hmm. And so there's different. Basically, he's taking over the underworld for Tatooine. Yeah. So you see all these guys like come up and start paying tribute to him. The one guy that I hated right off the bat.
The one with the tentacle head?
The Twi'lek. Yeah. He comes and he represents the mayor. And then he's like, all right, now you got to pay us. And Boba Fett's like, is he for real? And Fennec's like, do you want me to kill him? And he goes, nah, not yet.
And he's like, okay, we're paying you by not killing you.
Yeah, that was at the end of it. And then the dude's like, you're going to hear from my boss, dude. Yeah. Like, we need cash money. He goes, no, we're not killing you. Go tell your boss we're not killing you.
He's like, I appreciate that, but he's not gonna appreciate it.
Yeah, but I'm just letting you know he's gonna send somebody else. So there's already like a little inherent threat of what you see what's gonna be coming. Right. Then you see Boba and Fennec. They go ahead and they actually take off and go out into the world. Yeah. And that's when you see how big the city is where they're at, which looked really cool. Oh, but before that, like that they end up bringing in the two
those two green
the Gamoran guards, the piggy men. Yeah, the piggy men. They come in and they end up.
They remind me of luchadores.
100%. And I love that effect of what they look like. They look more natural and more realistic than the old school one that was like a big old tubby suit. Yeah. So yeah, like they got two swole dudes with pig heads, and they end up becoming his bodyguards essentially. He takes them with him, and they go over and they visit like a casino slash
bar
slash brothel. Yeah, it's like a combo. Yeah, and then another Twi'lek ends up coming to him, like an attractive older female.
They need to make something like that. That's like that's like a real one. They kind of do where Fat Man and
the cantina.
Yeah, but they need
the Scum and Villain.
They need
cantina.
to make more.
Well, you know, I mean, they have one in Disney that's impossible to get into.
Yeah, no, they need to make
so
more
hard
out.
To get into that one.
Yeah,
but that was a cool thing too in the show. The droid.
That's something I have to rewatch to see it because I missed that.
Yeah, the droid that we first meet in what's the Star Wars attraction in Tomorrowland?
Star Tours.
So, the first time you ever meet that droid is way back in the day in Star Tours. He's your pilot. Yeah. Then when they open up Black Spire, which is Star Wars land, he's a DJ there now. And then we get to see him again in this new show. So it was cool to see that model droid make its way.
It's funny how he's being like demoted because he was a pilot and then he's a DJ. And now was he like still DJing there, or was he like a bartender?
He was like a a dealer.
Oh, a dealer. So from DJ to dealer.
That's not a demotion. Not at all.
From being a pilot?
Nah, man. DJ life way better, man. He's
man,
making
pilot,
millions.
You're
making millions.
Going to different galaxies.
But that's only if you want to. I think he wanted to be at home with his robot children.
Yeah.
So then he got that job. But so they go over there. They end up getting like a tribute. Basically, like they take Boba's helmet and Fennec's helmet, and then when they give them back, like Boba's helmet's full of cash. So Boba's like, all right, this is gonna work out. And then you see Boba and Fennec, they leave and they're talking and they get ambushed.
Yeah.
And that whole sequence was a ton of fun to me.
Yeah.
Like, I love that sequence.
But it's funny, the people that jumped in, they reminded me. Like, it reminded me of Wakanda technology with the shields.
Yeah.
But also reminded me that they're also like Sub-Zero or Scorpion because there's
because of the way they look.
The costume that they had.
Yeah. But that whole sequence was fun to me, like the fight, and then Fennec ends up going after, trying to get one of them.
Well, you see how he destroys one?
Oh, dude, yeah.
It was like you don't see anything. It's disintegrated.
He just blast him with his miniature. Yeah, that was awesome too. But I love that she does catch up to two of them, and then she's trying to decide
who am I going to keep,
and she ends up kicking one off the roof, and she's like, "I'll keep you because you're not next to the next to the lip of the roof."
I feel like he kept her because he looked like he will be a squealer, like.
Yeah, I don't know what. Well, I think the motivation was just, it reminded me of that the Rick James skit from Dave Chappelle. It's like, you guys get close, I'm gonna kick this guy out the window, and she ends up kicking him out the window. But so yeah, they capture that guy and bring him back. In the meantime, Boba got hurt in that fight, so the two piggy men get him back to the Bacta tank, and they put him back in there. And then you see him now going back in time, and you start getting more info. Like, he escaped the Sarlacc, but he's so jacked up from that he's just like laying down on the ground, and then the Sand People show up.
Yeah.
And then they beat the crap out of him. They tie him up to their giant woolly mammoths, and they drag him across the desert. Dude basically almost dies.
Right.
And then they finally get to their village, wherever that is, and they tie him up along with I think those guys are called,
what are they called? Because he's the one that kind of like tells on them when he's trying to escape.
Rhodians or something.
Rhodians,
or like something. Basically, it's the same species as the guy that got the jump on Han Solo. In the first movie, and that's where the Han shot first thing comes from. So yeah, Boba and one of that species they're tied up to stakes in the ground.
Yeah,
and then Boba has a chance to escape, so he ends up escaping, and then he ends up getting run down by one of those CG like lizard dogs things. And then he gets
and he tells that other creature guy that he's like, hey man, you want to escape? I'll let you. And he's like, nah, man, I want to stay.
Yeah, it does not work out. But Boba ends up escaping, but it ends up being short lived because he gets captured.
Yeah.
Then he gets a crap beat out of him by one of the.
They knew how to fight.
Yeah.
And that's something I do like about this, because we're now knowing more about these characters, because you only see them as a background thing.
Yes,
and I like that.
Yeah, I love the design that they gave these Tusken Raiders, because so far the only design we've ever known of the Tusken Raiders are kind of like mummies, is what they look like.
Right.
But these guys look more like I was telling you, they look more princely, more desert.
Those Tusken Raiders, were they the same ones that were shooting, at the pod racing?
Yes.
Those are other Tusken Raiders, right?
Yeah. It's the same.
Because those even look a little bit different too.
Yes, but they're the same species or whatever, and this is. And we even got to meet some in The Mandalorian when they went after the crate dragon.
Yes.
They helped out with that whole situation as well. So we're starting to kind of see them fleshed out more,
right?
You know, in the Star Wars universe as a whole. But we see Boba's captured by them. They beat the crap out of him, and then for whatever reason, one of the kids, he might be like a young prince or something like that, it ends up taking a special interest in Boba Fett and just likes to like have him as not as a pet, but like his slave,
right?
You know. So then we see the kid like using his like that, you know, talking to like get Boba to move, and he takes him, and I forgot this, but Boba and the other alien are linked together. Yeah. So he has to take them both. So he takes them both out into the desert and then starts making them
dig up these shells that are filled with water.
Filled with water, yeah, like these. They almost look like vegetable like pods.
No, they look like sea urchins. The shells of the sea urchins. Have you ever seen?
Yeah, they look like that too. Yeah, to me,
they look like big ones.
To me, they look like a mix of vegetable and that. Yeah, you know. And so I was like, huh?
Because even when they break like a shell.
Do they?
Yeah. When he broke the inside,
I have to go back and take a look at it. Yeah, you might be right, but he takes them out and he has them digging for that, and then
it made me thirsty. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I just watched him like, ooh, gotta quench that thirst. But in the who's the one that it's the other alien. He's the
finding
one.
them.
Yeah, he starts digging up a certain section, and you can see scales.
Yeah,
and right when I saw that, I'm like, dude, that's not a good idea. The way that guy dies ends up being brutal, man. Yeah. Do you remember how that guy dies?
How did he?
The creature that ends up coming out that has basically 6 legs.
Yes.
It's got claws at the end of its hand. It ends up smashing him into the dirt with its claws like this.
Oh, is that what he did?
Yeah, he goes, bam, just shoves him into the dirt.
Oh, that's right, because he doesn't come back. He did kill him. I didn't think he killed him.
He killed him. Yeah.
Oh, he did.
Technically, he did that to him twice. He shoved him down, bam, and then Boba, starts attacking him, and then the thing slaps Boba away, and then the dude tries to get away, and he grabs him, and then he shoves him into the ground again, and then he just ends him right there. Yeah. So then the thing goes after the kid, and then Boba jumps on its back, and he wraps the chains around its head, and then chokes him to the point of like he cuts the thing's head off.
Well, he choked him. He didn't cut him off. They did that after the cutscene, because he choked him to death, and then they must have cut it off his head, and they brought the head.
Yeah, they brought the head, and then the kid ends up like, I killed this thing,
They know you did it.
And that's when you see one of the sand people who's like, yeah, I know who really killed it. Here you go. You deserve some water.
Yeah, you saved my son.
Yeah. So it's going to be, I'm excited to see
I think
the relationship shift over,
And I think this is the reason why, because he easily could have killed that kid if he wanted, but he knew that the kid's royalty to them. So
So he could have killed him at any time.
He's earning their respect. Going back to that, he wants to lead with respect.
He wants to rule with respect and not with fear. Yeah. The way that Jabba the Hutt did.
Yeah.
But to me, it was a solid episode. It was great the way it went by
quick.
It did go by quick, but it was almost an hour long, I think.
I don't know how long it was, but it went by quick. I just know that, when it ended, I'm like, that's it? I wanted more. But...
Yeah, it was great. It was great. All right, keep talking. I'm going to look up Easter eggs here.
Oh, the Easter eggs on that? I can't remember any of the Easter eggs in it, but
give me 1 second. I want to keep this away from the mic.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Like, you pretty much spoke of all the good stuff. Like, what else can I bring up from this episode? Other than his scars that got healed. Oh, that's cool. That tank thing, that just reminded me of Dragon Ball Z. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Because in Dragon Ball Z, every time they get hurt, the
tank, the Bacta tank.
They get into these tanks and they look exactly like that, and they're getting healed that way. So it's funny. See. So they got it from Dragon Ball Z.
No, Dragon Ball Z got it from them. Fool.
Dragon Ball Z's been doing it from
No, Star Wars had a Bacta tank way back in the day, man.
Yeah.
The original.
Yeah,
trilogy.
you're right.
Yeah. Trust me, Every modern thing gets their ideas from back in the day.
Back in the days, yeah.
All right, so here we go with the Book of Boba Fett Easter eggs. Let me see. Oh, here's they're explaining what are they doing here? Technical flashback. Okay, so let's see. Attack of the Clones flashbacks. While healing inside a Bacta tank, Boba remembers his home planet of Kamino, which was first introduced in Attack of the Clones. Remember, Boba is an unaltered clone of his father, Jango Fett, which means he doesn't age as rapidly as the other clones. His lifespan is the same as a naturally born human's. Kamino was known as the home of the best cloning scientists in the galaxy, which is why the Republic hired them to build an artificially grown army to fight the Separatists in the Clone Wars. By the time of the Book of Boba Fett, the cloning facilities are gone, destroyed by the Empire. Whoa, sorry.
No apologize.
Let me open this back up. It's such a weird echo when it does that. Okay, let me see. Cloning facilities are destroyed by the Empire during the events of the Bad Batch animated series, which I never finished.
I told you I finished it, right?
Yeah,
I told you. I thought there was more episode, but there wasn't. No. Yeah, it was whack.
Boba's first trauma was the death of his father on Geonosis. He was beheaded by Mace Windu during the very first battle of the Clone Wars. You can see a flashback to him holding his father's helmet.
Yes.
In the combat arena. The Sarlacc pit. The Sarlacc monster and Fett have a long history. Originally, Fett was considered dead after being thrown into its maw in Return of the Jedi. However, several books and comics now considered part of the non-canon Legends continuity showed how he survived well past his apparent digestion. The Book of Boba Fett finally gives us canon version of Boba's escape, which you can read more about here. The Bacta tank. Boba uses a Bacta tank to treat his injuries, while the breathing apparatus may be reminiscent of Darth Vader. This healing substance is more closely associated with Luke Skywalker, who needed a bit of Bacta healing after his fight with the Wampa in Empire Strikes Back. Bacta is a valuable resource in the galaxy, so naturally sometimes people fight over it. Max Rebo band. The Max Rebo is the little elephant, the little blue elephant.
Oh yeah.
That was cool to see them too. The band at the CD Mos Espa establishment playing a remix of the famous New Hope Cantina music is Max Rebo band from Return of the Jedi. Guess they found a new job after Jabba's death. That said, this is a much smaller band than the 12-person musical group that played at Jabba's palace. Looks like they lost a few folks on the barge, including their vocalist.
Yeah.
Mos Espa. The Tatooine settlement of Mos Espa is a previously established location and not the same as the town Luke visits in New Hope, Mos Eisley. In fact, it's Anakin Skywalker's hometown, the site of much of Tatooine portion of the Phantom Menace.
That's why it looked very familiar.
Including the pod race.
Yeah.
While there were no droids allowed in Mos Eisley Cantina, Madame Garza Fwip's Cantina uses astromechs to carry drinks, just like Jabba forced R2-D2 to do in Return of the Jedi. In the Tusken Raider leader, is the Tusken Raider secretly Darth Krayt? There have been some speculation that the Tusken leaders bears a resemblance to Ashard Het, a force-sensitive human raised by Tuskens who grew up to become a powerful Jedi Master, and later a dreaded Dark Lord of the Sith who ruled the New Galactic Empire more than a century after the fall of Emperor Palpatine. Krayt appeared in a wide range of Star Wars, I didn't even know about this, Star Wars tie-in media in the 90s and 2000s, but is no longer canon by Disney standards. While the Disney-era TV shows have pulled in other elements from the Legends canon, such as the Dark Troopers, there's really no evidence any of the Tusken in the Book of Boba Fett have anything to do with Krayt For now, it seems like wishful thinking at best. One interesting tidbit about Het is that he's one of a few characters who's ever offered a look underneath the mask of a Tusken Raider. In this case, Het just has a heavily tattooed human face since he was taken in by Tusken tribe and is not actually of their bloodline. The true face of the Tusken Raiders remains largely a mystery to this day. David Paskus and Jennifer Beals. David Paskus portrays the Twi'lek Major Domo, the same title Bib Fortuna held on. Oh, that's why that. Oh my goodness!
Explain this to me.
Okay, I don't care anything about this dude. I don't. He's not really that big of a thing to me, but Jennifer Beals is. Oh no way! So Jennifer Beals is an actress that I've known since from time that I was a kid.
Yeah.
So she's the one that plays the. And she looked familiar to me, but I didn't recognize her. But she's the one with the tails.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's the one that talks to Boba Fett when he first gets there, and kind of like welcomes him.
Yeah, and he says, "I'm the new boss." But
that's crazy. I totally.
But what else has she been in? Because I don't know who that is.
She was in she was in a famous. Kind of famous now, but old school movie called Flashdance.
Flashdance.
She was the main character. You keep hitting that thing. Stop it.
Sorry, can't help it.
Stop it. Yeah. So that's her from back then when she was a kid to now. Like it's. I see it in the face now, but I've
seen Flashdance like twice, and that was a long time ago.
You gotta watch it again. Species and creatures. Jabba's Gamoran guards were significant background aliens in Return of the Jedi. Since then, these big green pig guys are mostly been typecast as brawlers. Another original trilogy species, reptilian Trandoshians, are often bounty hunters, like their first representative Bossk. Oh yeah, that's right. It was the lizard guy who's like, "We bring you da da da."
Oh yes.
And he goes, even when they're complimenting you, it seems like they're threatening you. Yeah. Let me see. Bossk from Empire Strikes Back. In this case, they're represented by Doc Strassus, the leader of the Trandoshan gang on Tatooine, and one of Boba's former bounty hunting clients. Doc is played by none other than the director and showrunner Robert Rodriguez himself. Oh, that's awesome. The Aqualosh, who pays tribute to Boba Fett, is named Garalax, and is played by Daniel Lowen, one of Dan Darjan's doubles on The Mandalorian. Yeah, I don't know that. Although this new one is a different color, the fellow Boba tries to help escape from the Tusken camp, is a Rhodian like Greedo, who shot at Han Solo second or maybe first in New Hope. It wouldn't be Tatooine without Jawas. Those guys beat the crap out of him, and they just laugh and take his stuff. The little scavengers who steal Boba's armor in the same way they kidnap C-3PO and R2-D2 in New Hope. Tusken Raiders are known for riding their Bantha mounts, which is the big, and single file. Seen here just as Obi-Wan Kenobi described in New Hope. That big Tusken doggo is called Massive. The dog lizard things. Yeah. Along with being a rather literal description of Boba's flight, the episode title Stranger in a Strange Land has a science fiction pedigree of its own. The phrase is originally from the Bible, spoken by Moses in Exodus 2:22, and popularized by science fiction master Robert A. Heinlein, who used it for the title of his seminal 1961 novel, which gave the English language the word grok. The episode shares little else in common with it, other than the symbolic sharing of water between Boba and the Tusken. At the episode's end, the protagonist of Heinlein's novel was a human born on Mars, where water was scarce, and thus sharing water was a sign of brotherhood.
Brotherhood.
I'm surprised that they didn't, like, these guys didn't, to me, a major Easter egg was the putting on of the armor.
Yeah.
That was like a little Easter egg to Iron Man. I'm surprised.
I'm sure that other people caught on to that.
Yeah, but I'm surprised these guys didn't. Like, I was coming to them for knowledge.
Right.
Yeah. What's up with that?
I don't know.
Weak sauce, eh? This week, dog. But great first episode.
Yeah.
Looking forward to
Tomorrow.
the rest of them. Oh yeah. Looking forward to tomorrow. It's good. I.
What do you think is next?
Oh, I can tell you. You mean what's next for TV shows?
No. Next for episode 2.
Oh, I don't know. I can't even imagine. Let me see. Hold on. You talk for a second.
Yeah, because like I'm trying to remember how it ended. It just ended when he was with the king, I guess, of those creatures.
Yeah, it literally ended with that dude like, here's some water, dude.
Yeah,
You
right. That's how it ends, right? Yeah, yeah. So if it ends there, I'm assuming it's gonna pick up from that spot, or him just waking up from that pot thing, and because that's the present now, right?
No, that was the past.
That was the past.
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. Because he got beaten up so bad that he's in the pod, and so it's probably gonna be him waking up, and then it'll still be going back and forth. I think that it's gonna be the same scenario, but just learning more about his history.
So it looks like Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and Moon Knight are the 3 things that are going to be the TV shows that are coming.
Yeah, but which one's coming up first? Which is like
Miss Marvel.
Oh, Miss Marvel's the one.
Yeah, I believe Miss Marvel's coming up first.
Man, they're leaving Moon Knight towards the end.
Yeah,
damn.
They're leaving the best for last, baby. Yeah, if let me see, if Moon Knight is the last one. Well, whatever ends up being the last one is one of the things that they'll showcase at San Diego Comic-Con. It'll be like, they'll be doing some kind of big promotion.
They might just even show the first episode there.
That'd be dope. That'd be so dope.
Because they've done stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know at this point what it's gonna look like for the shows and how they're, with social distancing and everything else, and how they're gonna be playing all this out. But
I'm hoping that all of this is done before that.
Me too, baby. Me too. That'd be so dope. I cannot wait, one way or the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. We'll next week we'll talk more about Hawkeye and
Hawkeye.
I mean, not Hawkeye. I mean Boba Fett, and I don't have time to get into it today because we have to be wrapping up. But next week, you can give us your what do I think of the karate?
Oh, Cobra Kai.
You can give us your Cobra Kai review and take us through that, and hopefully you start Foundation as well. Cause
I haven't started that yet.
I'm interested to get your opinion on Foundation and see what you think. So.
Yeah, I have it set up too. I just gotta watch it.
Good.
I will watch it.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Yeah, even Bomb's like, I'll watch it.
She looks like she's meditating.
Right, yeah. I should animate like those hands that they put.
Oh, yeah. The best one was the one you sent. I
the
think
cowboy bird?
Yeah, that was the best one so far. Like, I don't know how much time that must take to do that, but it was perfect.
Yeah.
Just when he lights up.
Yeah.
And then he's like...
I love those.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Anyway, it's good seeing you again, my brother.
Likewise.
As always, good hanging out, good talking.
For sure.
We will get back to it next week and have a more detailed Boba Fett breakdown, and I'll find out why my son is a hater.
Yeah, you gotta find that out because I really want. Yeah, I want to know why.
Yeah, I definitely gotta find out. Like, what is going on with you guys?
Maybe he's just messing with you.
No, I don't think so. He's very definitive. Like he's not a geek like I am about like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
he's more like a music geek.
Yeah,
like, he loves like music, so he could tell you like he knows all about like the current rappers and all this other stuff, and I have no clue. You know, like, yeah, it's just, yeah. So we're totally on different opposite ends of that kind of stuff. But yeah, he's a pretty funny dude. But anyway, man, it's good chatting with you.
For sure.
Everybody, remember to eat your vitamins, drink your water.
Plenty of water.
Eat your vegetables. Stay healthy out there.
Yes.
And
get that nutrition.
Yes, and you know, I'm gonna start remembering to plug this every week. But just remember, you can follow us on. You can follow Hispanerds on Instagram, on Twitter, on all the socials. Please, if you follow us on Apple or Spotify, whatever, please leave us a review. We would appreciate that. And then Kenny is Kenji Art on Instagram. I'm Alex Iniguez Art on Instagram. And really, that's the only place to follow us, like social media stuff. Like that's where we post the most. And, you can see our tongue.
Oh, for me, for sure.
Yeah, for him, for sure. For sure. But you guys stay safe.
Yes.
And be good. And we will talk to you next week.
Hasta luego.
Peace out.